Saying, okay, nobody's in there yet. It's because I didn't press go live. uh, that's as I was talking yesterday. It's like having a green light, sitting at this intersection. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, sitting at an intersection behind somebody who's not paying attention, looking at their phone or whatever, and that's exactly what I was doing. Sitting at this light, I can hear that it's 6 a.m. and I can see there's somebody waiting to talk or waiting to join us on YouTube. And I've got my two sisters right here on Clubhouse. Well, this is a beautiful day. It's a wonderful day. It's an exciting time to be alive. This is day 57. Let's see, 31 and 26. That's 57. Yeah, 57 days of obedience and fasting, submission, worship. Isn't that something? Good morning there, my sister Annie. Listen, I bless you in the name of the Lord. Folks, take a second, if you will, and invite some people. Hey, Jax. Yeah, invite a few people to join us. This is a very special day, and it's not one that you want to miss. Let's do this. We've got some very special things planned this week, and you get to participate in all of them. The Lord is good, and his mercy endures through all generations. So I have the right to be excited about what the stories I heard growing up, sitting around the breakfast table, especially on Saturday. Saturday and Sundays were the days that we really ate all of our meals together. This is what I remember growing up. Um, we didn't need an alarm clock to wake us up on Saturday morning. Mama had two or three cookie sheets full of biscuits that she made from scratch, and there was a lot of well, we ate a lot, and you had that picnic table that was our dining room, and a kitchen table, and she loaded with food, fresh fruit. I remember Daddy cutting up pineapples and I don't know how many dozens of eggs and packs of bacon, and we ate. But I mean, that was what was enjoyable, but it was good for your body. But all of the things that we consumed have been long gone. They've been burned up, and what couldn't be consumed by the body was considered to be waste, and it was flushed away. So I can remember eating, but it doesn't benefit me anymore what we had. So see, I'm talking about all this food and y'all fasting. You making these signs, okay? The uh, the things that I do remember are the conversations. And see, back in those days, uh, children were seen, not heard. So if you were in a room with grown folk, you just listen. Yeah, you just sit there quiet and you listen. You don't interject. You don't get involved with the conversation. You just listen as grandmama's telling stories about growing up in Mississippi, as mama is talking about the experiences and daddy, things that he was able to do, and just being in a family of all sons. That was my dad. And just taking those stories, even when my uncles and my dad's brothers would come over with their families and all, and they would sit and the grown folks would be talking. I can remember laying in the hallway. Others are out playing or whatever, but I'm just laying quietly and I'm listening to the conversations. I'm listening to the experiences that they had growing up and the things that they experienced in the spirit realm, their relationship with God, their relationship with their parents. And I'm taking all this in. See, I don't remember the biscuits. I remember, the smell. I remember the coffee. I remember those things. See, my mother, our mother, for those of you who have joined us, our mother would get up in the morning. I remember his daddy had to be at work early, and it would be the smell of coffee percolating on the stove. I don't know if you all remember those, but you had to cook it over the fire. And I remember the smell of food. Mama would get up and make daddy breakfast fresh every morning and pack his lunch. And sometimes I would get up and uh, and I could sit at the table with him while he ate. And it was just so many things. If you can see me on YouTube, you see this smile as I'm remembering. There were so many conversations that I heard, but I haven't seen the manifestations of all of the things that I heard expressed. So there's some generational blessings. I can see how from generation to generation that the favor of God has prevailed in our family. I can see if I could borrow a phrase from the Tanakh or the Hebrew text, the Old Testament, then I would talk about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not the person Abraham, Avram, or Isaac, Isaac, or Yaakov, Jacob, not them as people, but from generation to generation to generation, which tells me that God is concerned with your bloodline from generation to generation to generation. So when we say that the Lord is good and his mercy endures for all generations, he didn't skip us. There's things that were not revealed 2 generations ago, who did not manifest, was not transformed or transferred 2 generations ago, that's about to manifest in yours. And you're the reason why. Even as Jesus said that no man comes to the Father but by me, these blessings are going to come into your generation through you, through your obedience. This is day 57. This is day 57. I'm expecting more and more every day. There's 2 things that I want to look at from one of my favorite passages in the of the writings of Paul, because I mean it makes me think, and I get more every time I read 2 Peter chapter 1, verses 3 through 4, but I had a little bit of 5. And I want to read this from the English Standard Version this morning, and let's just see where we go in these next few minutes. His divine power has granted us all things that pertain to life and godliness through the knowledge of him. If you have that in your Bible, just underline the knowledge of him. Through the knowledge of him who called us to his own glory and excellence, by which he has granted to us his precious and great promises, so that through these promises, through them, you may become partakers of the divine nature, underline divine nature, having escaped from the corruption that is in the world because of sinful desires. For this very reason, make every effort to supplement your faith with virtue, and your virtue with knowledge. There's things that we need to add to our faith. We continue to appreciate. When you appreciate something, you're adding to it. So we have been called to appreciate our faith, add to our faith. See, in this passage, there's emphasis on three. There's 3 key points. Really want to look at 2 of them. The first is the knowledge of him. We see that through the knowledge of him, through the knowledge of him. So he's given us all things that pertain to life and godliness. So I don't need to look at the things that pertain to life and godliness. I just need to know that he's already given us everything that pertains to it. So because he's given me everything that pertains to it, what do I have need of? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Sometimes God is silent because he says, listen, I'm giving you everything that you'll ever need in life. And then we come back with, Lord, I need. And he's saying, what do you need? He's not asking you, what do you need? Okay, this is me. This is Jerome speaking, all right? Maybe it's a little different for you, but for me, when he asks me, what do you need? What do you need? Okay, you know that I've given you everything that pertains to your life and godliness. And you're saying, Father, I need. And now I'm asking you, what do you need? I've met all of your needs according to my riches and glory. Now, and you're saying, Father, I have need. And he's saying, what do you need? And then we want to give him this laundry list of things that we need. That's not what is that we need. We think that we need, but that's not what the question is. What do you need is saying, I've given you everything. You have need of no thing at all. What the only thing that I have to do now, because I have a knowledge of him, is to grow or mature in the area of operation. And then when I'm matured, when I've matured in the area of operation, then I am cooperating all things. We say that God is in charge, to say, but he's given us dominion over everything. And we say, well, he's in operation, but things aren't happening yet. He's waiting to move, but he's not going to move. This camp isn't going to move until you're matured enough to go forward. And then when you've matured in this area so that you can operate in your kingdom assignment. And he's saying that you're not going to be by yourself. I'm going to send another comforter. I'm going to send the Holy Spirit. He's never going to leave you. So he's going to order your footsteps. He's going to tell you everything that I want you to know in that very moment. And he's going to, you're going to have power and all this. So now I am in cooperation. It's not that I'm just cooperating with or I'm just submitting, but I am cooperating. We are co-partners. This is a joint venture where I am now, he's in operation and I am in operation, and we are cooperating together. Just as we are heirs, we are joint heirs together with Christ. And so we have the knowledge of him. These are the things, the knowledge of him, and then the divine nature of God. And then we have growth in faith. And that growth in faith, I actually kind of touched on that already. It encourages the believers to actively supplement our faith with virtues like moral excellence and knowledge and self-control and steadfastness and godliness and brotherly affection and love. You can find that in Galatians 5. But these are the things that he's telling us that we need to add to our faith. And he goes on and he says that if you do these things, you'll never fall. He didn't say you wouldn't stumble, but you'll never fall. And when you keep reading, then you're going to see that the apostle says, what Peter says, listen, I know that you already know these things, but I'm not going to have you be ignorant. I've got to tell you of these things anyway. Just go with me. And he says, and what I want you to see are these present truths. Here's the present truth. So, but looking at the knowledge of him, as mentioned there in verse 3, it's talking about a personal and intimate understanding of God. It goes beyond the mere intellectual or the theoretical understanding, and it involves something that's much deeper and experiential. It's so I've got to experience, and I've got to know who God is, and understand his character, his will, and his ways. This knowledge is gained through various ways. Well, how do I get this knowledge? One, by meditating, studying the Word, meditating on the Word of God, and it reveals his nature. It reveals his acts through history, his commands, and his promises. We gain this knowledge through prayer, communicating, just talking to him. It allows us to cultivate a personal relationship with Him. We seek His guidance, and we experience His presence, because this is a conversation that we're having with Him. It's not a matter of, we cannot reduce prayer to what we do when we go into a restaurant. We get a menu, that's our Bible. We open it up, and then we place our order. I want this, and this is the way that I want it. And then we have expectations. We want it to be the way, we want it to taste the way that we expect. And we send that order to the chef. Well, we're treating God, Elohim, as though He is our chef. The Holy Spirit is our waiter, and we don't see what He wants to provide, or what He has already provided for that day. But we'll know these things through relationship. And when we have a relationship, we have a knowledge. See, I know my wife better than anybody else. She knows me better than anybody else. I've actually been married the majority of my life. From the age of 18 until now. That's a few years. And so and then with my siblings, your family, these are people who you have a knowledge of. The people who know who I am, when someone says something that's contrary to my character, then the person who knows me will shut that down real quick. No, that's not Jerome. He didn't say that. Nope, he didn't do that. You're saying that you saw Jerome McGee eating a steak at a steakhouse with these people. No, and everybody else knows. If you know me, then you know, well, he's a vegan. He's not going to eat a steak. He's not going to do any of those things. But I'm saying through the knowledge of Him. So when we get to know Him, the more time we spend with Him, we'll bond. Jesus said, "Listen, my sheep know my voice, and the voice of a stranger they won't follow." So you know what He sounds like. I know His character. This looks like God, especially when it doesn't make sense. That looks like God. Trying to figure that out. That sounds like God. So I need to follow that. But I'm only going to get that through bonding. The more time I spend, there's something that really stands out, and I talk about it often when we're in a crowd, and I've seen, like at a game or something, a little league game for the children. So there's a lot of kids, there's a lot of children running around, and when I hear a child cry for his mom, only the mother of that child turns around. It's just something, because there's something, the mother knows the voice of the sound of her child's cry. And the Lord is saying that He'll nurture us. He'll spend this time with us, even as a mother nurtures her child. This is what He's going to do. So the sound of your voice, of your child, and even the way that they are feeling. Their spirit, their mindset, and all of this. That's a mama. So, but the Lord is even greater, and that's because you bond with the child. You spend time with it. So you're going to get a knowledge of who He is. Increase your knowledge through studying the Word, through prayer, through your experience. Through whether the experience is joy or it's sadness, if it's whatever it is, you're going to know that you can come to Him boldly. You can come to Him as you would a father, because you have a right to be there, and your witness is faithfulness. You've witnessed and participated in the provisions and the guidance that He's always there. And then you're fellowshipping, you're communicating with other believers, and that's going to provide you with opportunities for mutual encouragement, accountability, and share some experiences of how God has worked in their lives, in and through you. So when it says through the knowledge of Him, we're talking about going into a deeper relationship that's transforming. See, you can't spend time in His presence and not come away looking and smelling like Him. There's something is going to change when you spend time with him, you spend time in worship, something is going to exchange. See, let me put it this way. If you say, uh, praise is where you get excited. Praise is where you're that's to really get you in the mindset for what worship is going to experience. See, you can say that it's in worship. Worship will get you pregnant. How about that? Worship, you can get pregnant in worship, and that's when the Lord will release this life, this call inside of you. So now you have a knowledge that you may not know exactly what the purpose is, but you can feel it moving. All right, but that's in worship. So the more time you spend in worship, the closer you're going to get, and you're going to have this knowledge of who He is. In the divine nature, it refers to his his attributes and his characters. These things that we're talking about: holiness, righteousness, love, wisdom, eternity, and other qualities that distinguish our God as the creator and the sustainer of all things. And see, what's important about that is that he tells us that we are, in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 21, it says it was him, it was Elohim who made him who knew no sin, that's Jesus Christ, who never committed sin, to become sin for us, that we might be made the righteousness of God through Jesus Christ. So then when he says that we're going to be partakers of the divine nature, of God, that's his holiness. And he said, the same one who said, let there be light, and there was light, said, be holy, for I am holy. So that's his nature, his holiness. His nature is righteousness, and he's made us his righteousness through Jesus Christ. His nature is love. Who he is, God is love. Jesus says to love God with all your heart, soul, your strength, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. Wisdom, eternity, all of these things that we have access to, and all of the other the qualities, folks. So here's the truth, because we want to get to know ourselves, and I'm just going to say right now that you can't know who you are if you don't know who God is. When you find out who God is, then you're going to see who you are. I know myself. Who is that said, to thine own self be true? So listen, to my own self to be true, I just need to know who God is. So when he starts talking about being partakers of the divine nature of God, he's telling us that through our relationship with God, we actually share in his character and his attributes. That means that we have got to see ourselves no longer as people who are struggling to make it, but we've got to see ourselves as in that through the eyes of God. See ourselves the way God said to Moses, listen, I've made you a God to Pharaoh. So in the eyes of Pharaoh, Moses was God. Moses had this access that would call down fire from heaven and make it go away, that would turn water into blood and make it clear up, that would bring darkness to the light and then make it go away, that would rain down frogs, flies, and all these things and then make them go away. Go and talk to your God. So God told Moses on more than one occasion, what are you afraid of? What is this? Why are you intimidated by somebody who is beneath you? I have made you a God in his eyes. What is he talking? He's talking about the divine nature, folks. Listen, you have to see yourself as the God in the situation. Your situation sees you as God to it. Every devil, every demon, every evil spirit sees you as God. When you show up, they don't know who you are until you say something. And when you do something, if you respond to the situation and instead of handling the situation, If you get into it and you begin to flow with the situation rather than to control the situation, to determine the flow of the situation. See, they see God. They see the righteousness, the holiness. They see the wisdom. They see everything that says God. And then when you open your mouth or you react, then and if it's consistent with the character of God, then they're going to do exactly what you said. Everything. So anything that opposes his or our divine nature, you got to see yourself as God to it. Anything that is not transformed or conformed into the likeness of Christ, it's on the outside, because Romans 8:29 tells us that we have been transformed into the likeness of Christ. Now Jesus looks just like, he's the expressed image of himself, the word tells us. So Jesus, when the Father looks in the mirror, if he just, go with me, I want you to see this. When the Father looks in the mirror, he needs to see himself looking back. So the expressed image is the mirror of yourself. So when he's looking at the expressed image of himself, he sees Jesus Christ, and everything else will see God. See, Jesus is the expressed image of God, and we have been transformed into the image of Jesus Christ. Okay. That's what the word says. Because we're growing in holiness and reflecting God's character more and more each day, we're sanctified, we're edified, we're built up. The divine nature of God is are the essential, they're essential attributes and qualities of the one who made all things, the one who said, "Let there be," and there always was. Then he said, "That's good." Listen, folks, that's good, and that's my time here on YouTube. I need to let you go so you can get to your day, and the intercessors are getting fired up. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow on YouTube. We're going to continue the conversation on Clubhouse. This is an exciting time, folks. I mean, I was up early, and those two words, those two statements, you know, through the knowledge of him and his divine nature, just got me kind of stirred up this morning. I couldn't get away from those. Who knows, might go back to them tomorrow and take another look. But I want you to know that you are blessed. Thank you, Christine. I want you to know that you are blessed and you're highly favored of God. You have knowledge of him, and you are partakers in the divine nature. He's extended his nature to you. So no matter what situation you find yourself in, remember, as he was with Moses, so is he with you in all things. He has made you a God to that devil, to those situations. So respond in the character of God. You get that when you spend more time with him. All right, bless you. I'll see you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Remember to like, to share, and to subscribe. Just go ahead and share this with a bunch of folks. See what happens, and encourage them to be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Blessings to you.